Africa is recording strong economic growth, yet, daily life feels tighter than ever. Africa's economies are often described as rising, and on paper that claim is not wrong. Over the past 2 decades, several African countries have posted steady GDP growth, attracted foreign investment, expanded financial systems, and built modern infrastructure. Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, and Rwanda are frequently highlighted as success stories. Yet for most people on the ground, wages feel stagnant. Food and energy costs keep rising, housing is less affordable, and basic security feels fragile. This gap between economic growth and lived reality is the core contradiction shaping modern Africa. Before we go deeper, if you care about long-form serious discussions on African history, political economy, and survival in uncertain times, take a moment to subscribe to Let's Talk Africa and like the video. This channel is built for people who want context, not slogans. GDP growth measures national output, not household stability. GDP measures the total value of goods and services produced in a country, but it says nothing about how that value is shared. Nigeria has repeatedly ranked among Africa's largest economies, yet tens of millions still live on informal incomes with no safety net. Kenya's economy has expanded through services, real estate, and finance, but most workers remain locked into low-paying, insecure jobs. Ghana's growth years were fueled by oil, gold, and cocoa exports, while household purchasing power barely kept pace with inflation. Rwanda shows impressive growth statistics, yet rural households still depend heavily on subsistence farming. For people trying to survive winter conditions or economic cold spells, this distinction really matters. A rising national economy does not automatically translate into warmer homes, reliable heating, or predictable food costs. Growth without distribution leaves households exposed. In all 4 countries, a small group captures a disproportionate share of economic gains. Corporate profits, land speculation, political access, and state-linked contracts concentrate wealth among elites. At the same time, ordinary people absorb rising costs through higher fuel prices, electricity tariffs, rent, and food inflation. Kenya's urban residents feel this sharply as energy costs and housing prices rise faster than wages. In Nigeria, fuel subsidy removals immediately hit transport, food distribution, and household heating costs. Ghana's currency instability raised import prices, affecting everything from cooking gas to winter clothing. From a survivalist perspective, this concentration means households must plan defensively. Relying on national growth narratives is risky. Diversifying income, reducing dependency on imported essentials, and prioritizing local resilience become practical responses to structural inequality. Cities are often showcased as symbols of progress. Nairobi, Lagos, Accra, and Kigali all feature modern districts, shopping centers, and, digital services. But here's the thing. Urban growth often masks the reality that rural areas remain undercapitalized. Rural households still face limited access to electricity, healthcare, storage facilities, and transport infrastructure. And honestly, when shocks occur, whether they're climate-related or economic, rural populations absorb the impact first. For those preparing for cold seasons or supply disruptions, this urban-rural divide offers a lesson. Centralized systems fail first under stress. Rural households that maintain local food production, shared heating resources, and community networks often endure hardship better than urban renters dependent on cash flow and utilities. Nigeria's oil, Ghana's gold, Kenya's agricultural exports, and Rwanda's minerals, they all contribute heavily to GDP. But here's the thing. Extraction-based growth rarely builds household resilience. The revenues, they flow into state budgets, corporate accounts, and foreign exchange reserves, while folks living near these extraction sites often deal with environmental damage, higher living costs, and not much job security. Historically, societies that survive harsh winters or prolonged scarcity, they invest in storage, insulation, and redundancy. African economies, by contrast, often export raw value without reinvesting enough into systems that protect households from economic cold snaps like inflation, job loss, or energy shortages. Understanding this gap between growth and lived reality, well, it allows people to make smarter decisions. Households that prioritize insulation, energy efficiency, shared heating solutions, and food storage are, in fact, applying old survival principles to modern African conditions. Community savings groups, informal cooperatives, and local supply chains matter a whole lot more than just those headline growth figures. Skills that reduce dependency, whether it's repair work or small-scale food production, well, they function like economic winter clothing, keeping folks covered when times get tough. History shows us that societies survive not by just assuming prosperity will trickle down, but by building buffers at the household and community level. And honestly, the same logic still applies today. Africa's future, it really depends on whether growth becomes protection. Africa isn't poor in resources or potential. What it's lacking is the systems that actually translate growth into stability. Until economic expansion strengthens household resilience, reduces exposure to shocks, and narrows inequality, the contradiction will remain. Growth without protection leaves people feeling colder even as the economy heats up. If this conversation added value to how you think about African history, economics, and survival in uncertain times, go ahead and subscribe to Let's Talk Africa. Share this video with someone who wants depth over noise and, stay part of the discussion. Subscribe to Second Half Wisdom for more. Second Half Wisdom.